Well, if you guys are big fans of the Japanese wrestling scene, you guys are always in the right channel. For today is going to be a very different one. Now, the priority for this episode was in fact New Japan Pro Wrestling, with of course more of the road to new beginning. As we head to Osaka, we have preliminary matches involving title matches and grudge matches. So we'll see how things will go from here on out. But first things first, as you probably may or may not have heard, ChocoPro has now reached episode 500. Now, I don't know if many of you may realize when they reach a certain number, such as, of course, like 100, 200, 300, 400, whatever, they always do a 2-day show. But mostly they do it in Ichigaya Square. But for this particular timing, it's a very interesting one. On day one, they did their part of the 500 episode in Shinkiba First Ring. Now, no title matches were in fact taking place, but the main event features Mei Suruga, Balin Aki versus Emi Sakura. Originally, it was supposed to be Mei Suruga, but unfortunately, it did not happen. But it sucked, but it was a pretty good match, not gonna lie. And of course, day two happens back in Ichigaya Square, with the main event featuring a very interesting preliminary match for an upcoming title match that will take place, of course, later on this month, I believe. I'll look into my notes once we get there, but we'll see how that goes. And of course, as always, we'll wrap up our episode as usual with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Leaded Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information is unable to be on this episode, we can either do it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us and click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough with the jibber jabbers. Let's get to it. So, let's begin, of course, with day one of ChocoPro 500. Okay, ChocoPro 500. Now, as I said earlier, when they reach a certain number, like for example 100, 200, 300, 400, and now 500, they normally do a 2-day show involving that. However, most of the time during from 100 to 400, they did both shows in Ichigaya Square. However, they decided to do something a little different. On day one, which we're going to do now, took place in Shinkiba, which is a pretty nice venue. But the second day, I'll explain a little after I'm done with this one. But of course, like I said, day one of ChocoPro 500 happened on the 22nd of January, but it was not uploaded, of course, on their YouTube channel until January 31st. So basically, you can consider this one as a big show with no title name onto it, but I'm okay with that. Now, let's begin with our very first match. Our first match, we have an 8-person tag match. Team number 1, we have Irikani, Soy, Hiroya Wada, and Kaho Hiromi. They take on Tokiko Kirihara, Sayaka, Sayaka Obihiro, or as we call her, Obi, and of course Shin Suzuki. Now, nothing much you can tell. Now, of course, if you guys notice with team number 1, they're normally a bit more lesser experienced wrestlers, but they can get the job done regardless. We have seen wrestlers pick up some wins here and there, but however, you're looking at team number 2, they have picked up wins and they do have some experience. You look at, of course, Tokiko, former tag champion, Sayaka the same thing, Obi the same thing, and so Shin Suzuki. But they knew exactly what to do. But in the end, it was Sayaka who picked up the win when she pinned Hiroyi, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Our next match, we have a singles action. We have Miya Yatsuba taking on the de facto leader of Colors, of course, Saki. So, of course, we all know Saki's reputation. She is a very hard-hitting wrestler. Now, Miya can be a bit more hard-hitting too, but nothing compared like Saki. But unfortunately, Miya was unsuccessful in this match because she ended up, of course, getting a boot in the face by Saki, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, adios. Next match, we have Chris Brooks teaming up with taking on Minoru Fujita. Now, obviously, we know they have fought off before, not only in ChocoPro, but possibly in Ganbare Pro and DDT. So it doesn't make any difference whatsoever. But of course, it was a hard-hitting match, like any other match we would expect. I mean, the real question is who was going to walk out. We know him, Minoru Fujita is capable of picking up some good matches, but in the end, it was Chris Brooks who walked away with the win when he applied a very strong submission, and just like that, Fujita had no choice but to tap out. Our next match, we have a 6-person tag match. We have Lee Yoneyama-oka teaming up with Shonchiru and Makoto. I don't know exactly the other name that Makoto uses for whenever she teams up with these two, but they face against Chiko Shikawa, Hagane Hino, and of course Rina Yamashita. So that kind of sets it up. However, if you guys may have noticed, of course, Chi, Hagane, and Rina are, of course, our current champions. Both Hagane and Chi are both the current Asian Dream champions. That means they are the tag champions. As for Rina, well, she is, of course, the Super Asian champion. Basically, she has the top title. So anyway, if anybody picks up the win, they can actually challenge for the title, and that's exactly what that's what it felt like in this match. Because to my surprise, it was Chonchiru who picked up the win by pinning Rina, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. No one expected it, but it did. So I'll explain a little bit later about that one. Now, our next match, originally Balina was supposed to face Mei Shiruga, but however, she was not present, so it became, of course, apparent that she faces her teacher, Emi Sakura. Now, of course, Emi Sakura is a very tough wrestler, a veteran, trained many wrestlers other than Mei Shiruga. She was also well known to train Sakusa Fujimoto from Ice Ribbon, Riho, our very first AEW Women's World Champion, Hikaru Shida, and various others, of course. And she, of course, always takes on the best challenges, either with women or men's. But she's facing a guy who is very hard, who, of course, knows exactly what he's doing. You would have assumed in some capacity that Emi Sakura would have walked away with the win, but nope. It was in fact Balinaki that walked away with the win when he applied a big splash onto her, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, of course, during the post-show, the general manager of ChocoPro, Io Kizuki, has of course announced that 2 more trainees will be making their appearance very soon. They haven't mentioned who, but of course she's also serving as a coach at their dojo, of course, if you probably may have noticed. But however, there's something interesting. As I mentioned, Chonchiru defeated Rina Yamashita in a tag match, and now he's cashing in an opportunity for the belt. Now, obviously, he wanted this match to happen on January 29th. The obvious reason was because 4 years ago, that was the day he lost the title. So that's the main reason. But however, the general manager said it's impossible to do so. But she did state it. This could happen on February 20, later on February 25th, of course, was in the Itabashi. So obviously, it's going to happen. But of course, Balinaki did had an amazing promo. He talked about, of course, things that he wanted to do. He, of course, made his dreams come true by going to Japan, learning about pro wrestling and all that. He feels like now he wants to conquer India. For those who don't know, Balinaki is originally from India himself and all that. And he wants to do a lot of things. But he also explained that he wished he had enough time to set up a match with both he and Mei Shugo, which is something they want to do. I mean, I'm hoping that we can get that, but let's just wait and see what happens. But as of right now, we're done with day 1 of ChocoPro 500. Let's move on with day 2. Okay, day 2 of ChocoPro 500. Now, we did day 1 that took place in Shinkiba first ring. However, they decided to have day 2 in Ichigaya, of course, as their usual spot. And this happened on the 23rd of January, but it was not uploaded onto their YouTube channel until the 1st of February, which obviously. Now, of course, we had Emi Sakura opening up the show, giving the greetings and giving the info of the entire event's matches. So that it pretty much was pretty clear. Now, our first match, we have tag team action. We have Kaho Hiromi and Hiroi Iwata taking on Chiko Shikawa and Emi Sakura. Now, obviously, if you probably pay attention enough, well, this match was going to go with Chi and Emi Sakura for many reasons, because many of you may know this, that both Chi and Emi are also teacher and student, just like and plenty others that Emi Sakura trained. But however, of course, their experience have always been a true factor. Now, Hiroi and Kaho still have less of experience despite of the gap between them. They're a pretty good, solid team, but they haven't picked up their biggest win just yet. But we did expected a win from Sakura and Chi when they applied a double pinfall on both ladies, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Now, our next match, we have seen these guys team up once before, and now they're teaming up again. Balin Aki teaming up with Chris Brooks. Well, they take on Shin Suzuki and a guy named Kaden Zenith. I don't even know who this guy is. He's a foreign wrestler, but don't get me wrong, it was an interesting matchup. Didn't know much about him, but in the end, of course, in this particular match, it was Balin Aki with the Magistral onto, of course, Zenith, and just like that, 1, 2, 3. That's all she wrote, folks. And then, of course, Balinaki put out a promo at the end in the post-match talking about Zenith. I don't know exactly what he said in Japanese, but I'm sure everybody are behind Zenith, of course. So we'll see. Now, our next match, we have Soy in her one-on-one match against Antonio Honda. So basically, of course, we're going to see some interesting moments with Honda. Don't forget, he does storytelling. He tries to do some crazy, things, of course, like do jokes and all that, but unfortunately that did play out pretty well until he pinned Soy, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, adios. Now, our main event, this is part of the preliminary match that will happen later on this month. Miya Yatsuba teams up with Rina Yamashita taking on Minoru Fujita and Shonchiru. Now remember, Shonchiru issued the challenge for this for the Super Asia Championship. So it's going to happen on the 25th of February in Itabashi. So this is a preliminary match, if you obviously. But here's the thing: Mia was the one who, of course, volunteered to team up with Rina. Obviously, I think Mia did this intentionally in hopes that maybe one day she'll get a shot of the Super Asian Championship, which is something we know she uh, tried to obtain but failed. But of course, Mia did not get close to that because it was Shonchiru who picked up the win by a pinfall, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. So basically, uh, Shonchiru has the bigger momentum on this one. So we'll see how things will go from there. Now for Anjankin tournament, I wasn't too sure what's going to happen, but he was in the tournament, but not involved in the matches. We're talking about Monetatsu Nakamura, but he was there. But people call him Munich, uh, Munich or something like that. But he was able to win the Jankin tournament, and runner-up was none other than Miya Yatsuba. So just like that, it was over. So it was a pretty good show. But we will follow more with Rina Yamashita and Chonshiru. As you know, the Super Asian Championship is now been decided. It's going to happen on the 25th of February at Itabashi. So stay tuned for that. Don't know when will Balanaki and Mei Shiruga will have their match, but we'll find out soon enough. So I think that's pretty much it for now. So we'll end things here with ChocoPro. Let's move on with our last and final review, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Okay, final review, New Japan Pro Wrestling, The Road to the New Beginning. Now, of course, this happened recently in Korakuen Hall. Now, we're not that far off. We're like almost maybe 1 week away till we get to Osaka. So much of the matches we have for this one are preliminary matches for title matches and grudge matches. So we'll see where that goes as well. Now, our first match, we have Masatora Yasuda teaming up with Yuya Uemura and Shota Umino to take on, of course, Unbound, consistent of Daiki Nagai, Oscar, and Yudo Ice. Now remember, this is a preliminary match for all of you. Yudo Ice and Oscar are the current IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, and they will defend those belts next week against Uemura and Umino. So basically, that's pretty much it. Now, last time these guys faced off, we know that, of course, Oscar and Yudo picked up the victory on that. But this time, how did it turn out? Well, this one particularly went into, of course, a great combination between both Uemura and Umino when they took Daiki Nagai and put him in the Dragon Right. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, Umino and Uemura, along with Yasuda, picked up the victory. But however, of course, there was going to be retaliation between Oscar and Yudo Ice over this mess. So you probably can guess this whole thing went into a brawl from both sides. So that's how things rolled up from there. Now, our next match, well, you probably know that recently House of Torture have not been in a good state at this moment. After, of course, Evil lost the Never Openweight Championship to Iron Wolf, and now that Evil is completely gone, House of Torture have no direction of where they want to go. We have, of course, Dick Togo, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Doki, and Ren Narita. Now, however, you can guess that this has become a very interesting moment because their opponents is Toru Yano, Master Wato, Yo, and Aaron Wolf. Now, don't forget, Ren Narita issued a challenge for the Never Openweight title pull. However, Doki, as you know, could not accept the fact that he lost to Wato. So before the bell rung, he went a beeline to Master Wato because Doki, as you all know, he does not want to defend the title at all. But now that he has no other choice. And of course, that's how things start out, because typical House of Losers, they decide to attack their opponents, try to break them in hopes they walk away with the win. And that's exactly what they tried. But however, once again, Wato showed his superiority as a future IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion by putting effing Dick in a submission, and just like that, Dick just gave out. So just like that, we'll see how things will roll from here. Now, our next match, as you know, the war between the United Empire and Unbound continues to ravage on. Representing the United Empire, we have Jacob Austin Young, Francisco Kera, and Cal Newman taking on, of course, Gedo, Hiromu Takahashi, and David Finlay. So obviously we all know that Francisco Kera has a problem with Hiromu, because of course Hiromu has been considered as one of the best junior heavyweights competitors, and Francisco feels that he has to defeat him because that's what he needs to do. And of course, Cal Newman wants to defeat David Finlay due to the fact that he hasn't forgiven him for what he did to Will Ospreay. So you can guess that this match went out of control in any way possible. But however, it was in fact a new move by Francisco Kera called the Crown Ball that defeated Hiromu, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. But our post-match, that's when things got a little chaotic. You saw the brawl between both Newman and, of course, Finlay going all the way to the back. And then, of course, we did see Hiromu, of course, getting attacked and all this other stuff. And then, of course, Akira got in the face of Despy, because we know Francisco Kera wants to beat everyone who's already above him. So we'll see how things will progress with him on that. Now, we talk about, as we continue more with United Empire and Unbound continuing, representing the United Empire, Zane J, Great Okan, Henare, and Jake Lee take on the other members of the Unbound, of course, Robbie X, Taiji Shimori, Drilla Maloney, and Yota Tsuji. Now, keep in mind, this is another preliminary match because, of course, Yota Tsuji will defend the IWGP Heavyweight title against a man who he often said, you don't earn it because you never fought, you did not have any significant wins. But Jake Lee feels like that I have to do it, because if I don't, then I'm nothing. But of course, Yota Tsuji is more of the traditional type. But of course, recently we have seen the United Empire somehow able to defeat Unbound in many ways. But this time it did not. It went on to, of course, by Drilla Maloney when he defeated, of course, Zane J on the Drilla Killer, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, the Unbound picked up the win. Of course, we did see all hell broke loose between the Unbound and, of course, the United Empire. So all things considered, this war is going to continue to rage on. Now, as you all know, we have the never openweight 6-man tag team titles will be defended once again in Osaka next week. However, of course, the previous champions, the members of TMDK, Jackson, Oiwa, and Zack Sabre Jr. want a rematch, and that's exactly what they're going to get. However, all three of them will be in a singles match against the champions. First match involving that, we have Hartley Jackson versus Boltin Oleg. I have to say, this was a hoss fight if you wouldn't expect it, because that's exactly what we did, because Boltin Oleg has been very impressive. He has never backed down against bigger competitors. That's always been who he is, because he's not afraid of them. And you would think that Harley Jackson is any different. No, it's the same thing for him. But luckily, Boltin Oleg was able to walk away with the win when he applied the kamikaze, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, he picked up the win. Next match, we have Zack Sabre Jr. taking on Yoshihashi. I thought this match was very impressive. I mean, you would have assumed by watching this that Yoshihashi would have had a major upset by defeating Zack Sabre Jr. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case, because it was Zack Sabre Jr. that picked up the win by applying a submission. And just like that, Yoshihashi just gave out. Now, our next match, we have Rohit Oiwa taking on Hiroki Goto. Man, this was a hard-hitting match you wouldn't expect. But, however, in this matter, we did see, of course, Hiroki Goto applying the GTR on him. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. So you can tell that 2 out of 3 matches involving the current champions won the match. So we'll see how things will progress from here on out. So I think that's pretty much it, what we have. Let's move on with our last and final thing, news updates. so welcome to our news update. So let's begin, as always, with, of course, upcoming events. Now, we start out with, of course, Wrestling Revolver. They just announced for this coming Thursday's event called Cross Hour. Two matches have been announced. The first one is for the 24/7 Scramble Championship match. Big Pound, I don't know who he is. He defends the title against 5 other competitors. We have Trey Miguel, Gringo Loco, Dante Leon, Junie Underwood, I don't know who he is, and then of course Jeffrey John. So that's going to be a chaotic match. Then we have Damian Chambers taking on Jordan Oliver. So that's going to be a real fun match too. Now, it has been decided for, of course, by Pro Wrestling Noah in the final episode of Monday Magic Rising Sun season on the 9th of February, which is this coming Monday. 2 championship matches will be taking place. We have the GHC Hardcore title defendant. Titus Alexander, the current champion, will defend it against Masato Tanaka. And then, of course, we have the GHC Women's Championship. Mayu Iwatani will defend it against the Great Sakuya. So that's going to be a match I don't want to miss. Now, of course, GCW will have their LA show on the 14th of February, aka Valentine's Day. The Coldest Winter 4. It was announced Matt Tremont will take on Kroll. House of Glory for their upcoming event on the 20th of February. No turning back. They announced Andrade El Idolo will be making his appearance. New Japan Pro Wrestling announced for the upcoming, of course, the New Beginning USA, that the IWGP Women's Championship will be on the line. This was later announced by, of course, the challenger Athena. Shooty will defend it against Athena. Athena left a very interesting video promo on how she wants this title and how much she wants to take it away from her. So we'll see what happens until then. Women's promotion based out of the UK, Pro Wrestling EVE. There's going to, for their upcoming event called Women's Behaving Badly, that will happen on the 6th of March. It was announced Anita Vaughn, aka All Violence, will take on the Hardcore Queen, Dash Shizako from Sendai Girls. So that's going to be a crazy match. And then finally, of course, I'm not sure if this is a collaboration between Tokyo Show Pro Wrestling and Italian promotion SAJ. This will happen, of course, on the 26th of February, just 1 week away from, of course, WrestleMania week. It was announced Miyu Yamashita will be participating. I don't know if any other Tokyo Pro Wrestling talent will be there. If they do, I'll let you guys know. So we'll see how things go from there. But as of right now, let's keep moving forward with our last part of the news updates. We have, of course, are some developments. Now, as you may have heard, Fightful Select reports that Clark Connors is expected to sign with AEW. Now, nothing has been finalized yet. I'm sure there's still a negotiation. I'm sure people are still talking about that, but we'll see. Right now, it's February 2nd, so we'll see how things will go from there. Now, speaking of New Japan, of course, a very interesting development has happened. It was later announced that Shoma Kato and Katsuya Murashima are set to go on their excursions. Now, for those who don't know, the Young Lions, when they're at a certain point in time, when their training is ready to evolve more, they send them on excursions on different parts of the world. For example, Shota Umino, when he actually left on excursion, he went to the UK and he was working with RevPro much of the entire time. Same thing with Yota Tsuji, but of course Tsuji did a small period in CMML for a while, so you can guess how that goes. Yuya Uemura did his, of course, in LA at the LA Dojo, and of course he appeared in TNA. Not to mention, we did see, of course, Rohei Oiwa. He did his excursion. Well, was a very unique experience. Was at Pro Wrestling Noah, and of course, and at certain time, the wrestlers return to Japan and to the promotion that we're training from. They actually do that. But it was later announced that Shomokato, his send-off will happen on Fantastica Mania, which will happen soon. But however, Murashima, his send-off will happen at New Beginning in Osaka. So that's going to be a very sad moment for everybody who went to see him. Now, our final development here on the New Japan category, of course, this was a shocking news to me, and I'm sure some of you may have heard it or not. It was announced that Hiromu Takahashi will be leaving, of course, New Japan. I did not expect that. We know that recently we saw, what's his name? Naito and Bushi left, and they decided to do their own thing. Sonata, we still don't know yet. I mean, there are those are speculating he could be leaving. Hiromu is the next to leave, and of course, it was later said that his final appearance will happen in Osaka at the New Beginning. But it's still no clear what he's going to do. But there's people who believe that he may be on his way to WWE. Now, we don't know for sure if that's the case. Just because Evil is going to WWE doesn't mean that Hiromu is going to. We don't know what are his plans yet. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully some information on that will come to light. So we'll leave things as it is. But as of right now, let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you probably can guess, NXT will be the top priority. But however, there is the New Blood show by Stardom. It was later revealed that our current New Blood tag team champions, Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kurara, will defend their titles for the first time, and their opponents are none other than Yuna Mizumori, who is part of the same unit with them, and her partner is Ane Kanaya. So that's going to be a lot of fun. If I do get a chance to see it, hopefully I'll do the much recent Monday Magic by Pro Wrestling Noah and see how that works. So stay tuned for that. But if there's anything else, oh yeah, I will be doing a Onaga Sayaka watch very soon. So stay tuned for that. And as for the special episode involving Marigold, stay tuned for that too. So I'll be getting to that as soon enough. But as of right now, we'll leave things as it is and move forward. But until then, I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.